Hello, I'm Pastor Scott Paradise. I'm the pastor at Millcreek Lutheran Church, which is neighbor to Fort Zeller Elementary School. And I'm here with Mr. Stephen Lynn, who's the principal there. And today we are going to record the two of us reading a story for the holidays.
Owl Moon, that's the book that we're going to read. Before we get started, I just want to say, Pastor, this is a great idea. I am a huge fan of our partnership. I know that we have already worked together on a couple things. We have benefited from you all, supplies that you guys have donated for our children to kick off at the very beginning of the school year. And then also very recently we had our gingerbread shop. And I just want to publicly say thank you for letting us abide by our health and safety plan, which really didn't allow for our volunteers to use our restroom facilities. And you guys graciously opened up your doors for our volunteers, which allowed us to really have a holiday-themed, holiday-spirited event, which would have otherwise not have happened. So just wanted to, before we get started, I wanted to thank you guys for that.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your partnership. We were really happy to do that, and we're happy to help the school any way we can. My biggest agenda item for our relationship is that we simply be good neighbors together. And thank you for helping us do that. And it's fun that we can share a story together, because I think that's something neighbors get to do as well.
Right, Pastor. I think that's a great idea. So for everyone who's watching, we are going to read the book Owl Moon. It is a Caldecott Award-winning book, which is to say that it won an award for Best Illustration back in, I want to say 1985. I need to double check on that.
88. It's on the back.
Does it say that? 88. Okay.
88. So, on the back of my copy.
Okay. So it looks like it was published in 87, and then in 88 it won the Caldecott Award again for Best Illustration. And many of our children might have read this book. I'm just going to go out and admit that Mr. Lynn, even though he's the principal at an elementary school, had not read this book until this morning. So I thought it was a wonderful book. Pastor Paradise and I, we did practice this once, but there's still an element of kind of winging it right now. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is the first time Pastor Scott read the book today as well. So we're on the same page, my friend.
So Owl Moon, it is a story for those children who are watching about, it's really a story of a relationship with a son, with his father, as they are going through looking for that elusive animal called the great horned owl, using the owl call. And there's so much description about the winter months. We felt like it was really appropriate to read today. So
perfect.
Who said, was I going to start off?
You're going to start, and when the opposite is reading, the other one will show the pictures.
That's what we're going to try to do. Okay.
Well, try and do it.
Yeah. So Owl Moon, the author, we want to make sure we give credit to the author, Jane Yolen, and the illustrator was John Schoenherr. So let me show the
cover.
There we go.
Yep. Right. And I've got the first picture up.
All right. Thank you, Pastor. We'll go ahead and get started. Owl Moon. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime, when Pa and I went owling. There was no wind. The trees stood still as giant statues, and the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine. Somewhere behind us, a train whistle blew, long and low, like a sad, sad song.
I could hear it through the woolen cap Pa had pulled down over my ears. A farm dog answered the train, and then a second dog joined in. They sang out trains and dogs for a real long time. And when their voices faded away, it was as quiet as a dream. We walked on toward the woods, Pa and I.
Our feet crunched over the crisp snow, and little gray footprints followed us. Pa made a long shadow, but mine were short and round. I had to run after him every now and then to keep up, and my short round shadow bumped after me.
But I never called out. If you go owling, you have to be quiet. That's what Pa always says. I had been waiting to go owling with Pa for a long, long time.
We reached the line of pine trees, black and pointy against the sky, and Pa held up his hand. I stopped right where I was and waited. He looked up, as if searching the stars, as if reading a map up there. The moon made his face into a silver mask. Then he called, "Woo, woo, 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 woo!" The sound of the great horned owl. Woo, 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 woo!
Again, Pa called out, and then again. After each call, he was silent, and for a moment we both listened. But there was no answer. Pa shrugged, and I shrugged. I was not disappointed. My brothers all said sometimes there's an owl, and sometimes there isn't.
Well, we walked on. I could feel the cold, as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back. And my nose and the tops of my cheeks felt hot and cold and hot at the same time. But I never said a word. See, if you go owling, you have to be quiet and make your own heat.
We went into the woods. The shadows were the blackest things I had ever seen. They stained the white snow. My mouth felt furry, for the scarf over it was wet and warm. I didn't ask what kinds of things hide behind black trees in the middle of the night. When you go owling, you have to be brave.
Then we came to a clearing in the dark woods. The moon was high above us. It seemed to fit exactly over the center of the clearing, and the snow below it was whiter than milk in a cereal bowl. Great description.
Mm-hmm. I sighed, and Pa held up his hand at the sound. I put my mittens over the scarf over my mouth and listened hard. Then Pa called, "Ooh, ooh, 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 ooh." I listened and looked so hard my ears hurt and my eyes got cloudy with the cold. Pa raised his face to call out again, but before he could open his mouth, an echo came threading its way through the trees. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Pa almost smiled. Then he called back, "Woo, woo, 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 woo." Just as if he and the owl were talking about supper, or about the woods, or the moon, or the cold. Well, I took my mitten off the scarf off my mouth, and I almost smiled too.
The owl's call came closer from high up in the trees. On the edge of the meadow, nothing in the meadow moved. All of a sudden, an owl shadow, part of the big tree shadow, lifted off and flew right over us. We watched silently, with heat in our mouths, the heat of all those words we had not spoken. The shadow hooted again. And I get the picture of the owl. There we go.
Well, Pa turned on his big flashlight and caught the owl just as it was landing on a branch. Beautiful picture there.
Mm-hmm.
Have a picture of the owl.
For 1 minute, 3 minutes, maybe even 100 minutes, We stared at one another.
Then the owl pumped its great wings and lifted off the branch like a shadow without a sound. It flew back into the forest. Time to go home, Pa said to me. I knew then I could talk. I could even laugh out loud. But I was a shadow, only a shadow as we walked home.
When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says. The kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon.
And that is the Owl Moon. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Thank you.
Absolutely. I loved reading it. Reading is so important. Thank you for doing this.
Yes. I should also say, and I was just thinking about it, because I know a lot of the community have children who come to Fort Zeller, as well as have family that attend the church. Right here next to us is the Giving Tree. We had Operation Warm a Child, and we had many members of our community drop in items for children here in Lebanon County who might not be in a position to have that warm scarf that was just, that the child in this story enjoyed, or the coat or the hat. So we will be making sure to donate this to the Lebanon Christian Ministry sometime during break. So
perfect. And our church collected for the schools. So there you go. Alita Risser, the school social worker, helped us organize a collection of hats, gloves, and scarves, which she said, I think, go out through the nurses in the schools. So thank you. Thank you for all that.
Yeah, no, and thank you for the partnership. I think that this Read Aloud is a great example of the partnerships we can find in our community. It's great to have you guys right next door. As we were reading, I was thinking about the other partnership that that might be even more relevant to our students' experiences when we have PE, certainly earlier in the year when we could get outside with Mr. Babiars. I know that you guys have been kind enough to offer up your parking lot as well for our kids to exercise in and not have to have the morning winter dew soak into their feet and then have to have wet, cold feet for the rest of the day. So these are just all examples of our partnership. We're really blessed and grateful for that. And during this holiday season, this winter time, this winter break, I've been a big preacher of making sure you look around your surroundings and take it, just take into account those blessings that we too often take for granted. There are blessings all around us. The blessing of good neighbor, Pastor, these are things that we don't want to take for granted, and this is as good a time as any time to recognize those and however you give the thanks, to give thanks and recognize it. So.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said that better myself. Thank you for this great opportunity. And right now, I would like to say on behalf of myself and our congregation, Merry Christmas to everyone.
And I want to say on behalf of Fort Zeller, happy holidays, enjoy the break. And for those who do celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. For those who celebrate Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all of that, these holidays, these cultural traditions, they're very important to many of our families. Celebrate them, and then again, look around for those blessings and give thanks in the way you do.
Thanks for being a blessing.
Thank you.
All right.
See you guys around. See you in 2021.
2021.